Hey, we're back on the Coach Rowe Show. I am Coach Rowe. Got my man Iggy from the Iggity Biggity.
What's going on, Rowe?
What's up, my man? Hey, I was telling you about the college weekend. I mean, that play from Miami.
Yes, sir.
8 laterals on a kickoff return with 4 seconds left.
Wow.
Good grief, that was incredible.
Second win for him with the interim coach.
Exactly. Who was the interim coach? It was a D coordinator or something?
No, it's not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was a D coordinator.
Okay. Well, we have a young man here. Our next guest on the Coach Rowe Show played for the Chargers, a linebacker, and his name is Mr. Stephen Cooper.
All right.
Oh, Mr. Cooper, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Oh, hanging in
Great,
there,
man. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Exactly.
It's an honor to be here.
So from the NFL, you get a gig coaching the Tiny Mites.
Yes, sir. Something that's really, really fun.
Yeah. Tell me about that experience, my man. How'd you get started, wanting to do that?
Well, my son turned 5 years old, and it was an opportunity for him to start playing flag football. So myself and my girlfriend, we enrolled him. And first day of practice, it's a volunteer-based coaching program.
Okay.
So volunteers have to come out and want to coach. And the first day, it was hard to find a coach to coach flag kids.
Right.
Like we were talking about earlier, the patience and really wanting to do it and being there all the time. So the opportunity came up, and I jumped right in.
Wow. And they're 8 and under. So how young can they be? 5?
5 years old. 5 years old. Our first year, mostly all 5-year-olds with a couple of 6-year-olds. And we did fairly well our first year.
Okay, great. So are you in the championship right now? Your guys'
Well,
season's
we played last week, against the IE Ducks from LA.
Oh.
And we lost our first game in 3 years.
In 3 years?
3 years.
3 years, yeah. It was a learning experience for the kids because they had so much success playing the fall ball, playing winter ball at NYS. And just to have the opportunity to keep winning and winning.
Yeah.
At their age, they never understood what defeat felt like.
Oh, wow.
So when that happened, it was a really opportunity for me to teach them to understand you don't want that feeling again. So when the opportunity presents itself, you have to take care of business.
Right. So how did you, when you first started coaching the kids, I mean, how did you get them to, because, at that age, man, they're all over the place. How did you get the discipline instilled into them?
Well, through myself and my coaching staff, I have a really good coaching staff, guys that are really upbeat, up-tempo, but they're there. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to have a lot of parents that are volunteer coaches to be there because of their work schedule and having to deal with their own family issues at home. Mm-hmm. But the coaches that I have been doing a great job. They follow my lead and follow great direction.
Okay.
Good positive influences.
Yes, sir, 100%.
That's what it needs.
So you yourself, you went to, you got accepted to the Naval Academy, then you ended up going to Maine.
Maine, yes.
Yes, sir. Black Bears.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. That conference is no joke.
Yeah, it was very competitive. I got to play against a lot of great players like Brian Westbrook that went to the Philadelphia Eagles. Carmanzi that got drafted 3rd round. That was a buzz for the Niners that everybody knows. I got to play against a lot of top-tier athletes and had an opportunity to showcase my talents and had an opportunity to get here to California.
Right. And they had like Villanova, UMass.
James Madison.
Was Richmond in that one?
Richmond. Hofstra. UNH when Chip Kelly was there, 70 points. So, we got to play against top-tier athletes.
Yeah. So before that, in high school, you were a quarterback?
Yes, I was a quarterback in high school, but I was a linebacker from the age of 7 all the way through. So I played quarterback and linebacker my whole life.
So I heard you didn't do too bad at quarterback.
I didn't do too bad. It was more of a running offense. Yeah, we had a state championship in '95. We just got honored this past week, inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it was a good honor.
Wow.
And so did you play both ways, quarterback and?
I played both ways, all 4 years.
And you were Player of the Year twice in the Colonial Athletic Conference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2 times linebacker Player of the Year. That's crazy.
I don't know. It was a big thing for myself, my family, and the school because it hasn't been done since the 50s. Wow. So for the opportunity to showcase my talent and to go out there and play at a high level, I had great teammates that helped me along the way, and I had great coaches. So a lot of those things go to those players and coaches.
Yeah. Wow. So what was this quarterback challenge they have on the East Coast?
Well, it's if you guys ever seen the quarterback challenge that they have in Disney World, where all the NFL quarterbacks that go down to compete, they do the distance throw, they do accuracy, and they do a bunch of different drills. Well, I won the Massachusetts area, the region up in the Northeast, and I think it was Blake, the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay, yeah, Jeff Blake, yeah.
He was my sponsor, so he came to Massachusetts and helped me out. And then after that, I won that. We went to Florida, and I came in 2nd place, lost by 1 point to last name Crisp out of Texas. But it was a good experience, very fun.
Crisp?
Yeah, I think it was Christ with a T.
Crisp.
Oh,
Oh,
Crisp.
Crisp.
Okay.
Yeah, he was an all-state quarterback over there when I came out.
Well, in Massachusetts, now didn't you throw a ball like 50 yards in the snow to win it?
It was over 50 yards. To be
Over
honest.
50 in the snow.
In the snow, yes,
I've
sir.
never thrown anything 50 yards.
Did you have to deflate the ball?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Make sure.
No deflating, no way.
It wasn't about that at that time.
Wow. So then you go on to Maine, and so at Maine, it's freezing out there, isn't it?
It's very, very cold. You get sun about 4 months out of the year, but at the same time, it was a great opportunity. Coach Cosgrove, the head coach there, gave me the opportunity to play football there, and I just took it and ran with it.
So any schools were recruiting you? Did anybody say, "Hey, we want you to play quarterback instead of linebacker"?
When I went to the Naval Academy, I went to preparatory school in Rhode Island first, and we ran everybody knows the option offense. So when we played against teams that were really trying to shut down the run, I would go in because I had a better arm than the starting quarterback that ran the option. So I played running back and wide receiver when I was at prep school.
Now, if you ever miss hitting, if you're playing quarterback, you ever miss playing linebacker, you can just throw a pick.
Oh, 100%.
And knock the living daylights out of the guy who got that
We don't want
pick.
that on the stat sheet. We don't want that on the stat sheet.
You can get a pick, a tackle, everything,
Yes, sir.
all in one play.
So that was the only school that wanted you as quarterback, or everybody?
Yes, sir. The funny story is I was a big basketball player in high school also. So I had the Naval Academy on one line, and then I had a D2 Bryan College on the other line for basketball.
Wow.
And I had to make that decision before 12 p.m. on whether or not I wanted to play basketball or football.
Wow.
And I just weighed my options on whether or not what I really wanted to do. My family was really into the academics and my future of after college. They weren't thinking about professional sports or anything. And for me as an individual, I was just weighing my options of where was my best bet to try to get to my dream. And I decided to play football and went on to the Naval Academy.
Oh man, it's incredible. So, and then you didn't get drafted, but you got signed as a free agent.
Yes, sir.
And you played 8 years?
I played 9.
9 years.
Yes, sir.
All with the Chargers.
All with the Chargers.
That's kind of rare nowadays.
It's very rare. It's like I told my agent when I was coming out, just give me the opportunity to get into a camp, and I'll take care of the rest. My mind and my heart was really into football. I love the sport. I respect the sport, and I knew I had the work ethic in order to do what I had to do, and really had the mental capacity to understand what the defensive coaches wanted me to do. Also,
exactly. So now in the classroom in high school, I mean, you took care of business.
Yes, I did what I had to do. I slouched here and there, to be honest.
Can't slouch too much.
No, you can't. You can't do that too much. But at the same time, with doing sports all year round and doing the academics, it was a heavy workload, but I balanced it out pretty well.
Yeah. So, what is your advice to these young guys that are in high school? They all want to make the NFL, but the key thing is, like I always say, use your skills to pay the bills. You have to do it academically. Like, what is your advice to these guys? Like, they only want to play the football side of it. Football.
It's just like the time you put in the weight room. A lot of kids sit there and play video games. You have to put the time in order to reach your goals. It doesn't matter if you're flipping burgers.
Yeah. You
have to do your job. If you're flipping the burgers and they fall on the floor, you're gonna lose your job.
Right.
So when it comes to the academic side, you have to stay in the books. You have to put in the time. It's repetition, just like football, just like the weight room, and just keep looking at things, keep reading, ask questions. That's the number one thing I preach to my kids: ask questions. The same in school. A lot of kids are really shy or nervous about asking questions. So with that being said, there's never a bad question when it comes to school. It's never a negative thing when you ask your teacher for help. A lot of people, even adults, myself included, it took me a long time to ask for help in certain instances in my life. So being a young adult, us parents and older people that are watching over these kids need to understand, we need to tell these kids to communicate with us and their parents, teachers, in order to get the best out of themselves.
Right. So a lot of teachers, they're teaching the class and they've been there a while, and they say, "Oh man, this kid, he don't want it," But if you show interest and you communicate with the teacher, and then you got a B- or a C+, and they might get, hey, this guy talks to me, he communicates, he asks questions. I'm gonna give him a B.
It's exactly what you said. It coincides with sports, not just football. Every sport. If you're asking questions, you're showing that you care. So that teacher, that coach is looking at you like, this kid really wants to learn. This kid wants to step in and be a great student, a great athlete. So by doing those things, it's going to catapult you to be the best person you can be.
Right. So let's say you have a kid that's kind of unruly, I mean, it's young. They're 8 and under. Your Balboa Raiders, Tiny Mites. But how do you approach that kid and get him to, instill some discipline in that kid?
Well, we have a great group of parents that bring their kids to Balboa, and what we do is if there's any problems in school, you miss homework, you get in trouble in school, you get suspended, you come to practice and you run, but the whole team runs. Wow. So you're not just getting penalized. You're seeing your teammates out there gritting and sighing because they're getting penalized for the things you do. Mm-hmm. Just like on the football field, you go off sides. That one person goes off sides, the whole team gets penalized.
Exactly.
So we try to make our team more family-oriented to where it's like, I have your back, you have my back. When we're away from the sport, you still got to hold down your end of the bargain because if you don't, then we all pay.
Right.
And it's just like when somebody goes to jail, the whole family feels it emotionally and physically. So at the end of the day, as long as we're doing our job as parents, as coaches, and really implementing a good structure that's positive, the sky's the limit for all these kids. It's really just putting in the time and really being about, I have 26 kids on our roster, and I have 6 coaches. And those 6 coaches try to relay different messages. We all come from different backgrounds. Some been locked up, some been in good business situations, some's doing a 9 to 5. So with those different personalities, we all have different aspects to give these children.
So have different point of views.
100%, yes, sir.
So good. And so also going back to your high school, so you also ran track, right? Because basketball and track.
Yeah, I ran track just to try to work on my speed. Because I wasn't the fastest guy. I ran a 4.9 coming out of high school. So you kids that are listening, speed does kill. But at the same time, as long as you have a strong mentality and you got the heart to put into the sport, you'll be okay.
Right. So, like you're saying, game speed. Like if you know what you're doing, you're going to get there faster, no matter if you run a 4.4 or not.
And anticipation is everything. When I got to the NFL and when I was in college, I was really a student of the game. I was in the classroom watching a lot of film, asking questions from my linebacker coach, the defensive coordinator, talking to the offensive coach. Why does this guy line up and cut split on the hash? Mm-hmm. If he's to the short side of the field, why are they running to the boundary? Mm-hmm. These are questions that you want to know. So when you get into the game, when you see 2nd and long, you know the draw screen's coming. When you see 3rd and long, when they're up by a certain amount of points, they're going to run the draw to run the clock out. There's certain instances in every game where whoever's holding those cards, they're telling you pretty much what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. So if you really take time and look at the stat sheet and see what the percentages are, you can pretty much dictate what a team's going to do before they do it. Right. That's why I had a lot of success in the NFL because coaches like Wade Phillips, Ron Rivera, John Pagano, Greg Minuski, they taught me those little things. But when I got onto the field, anytime we played a great quarterback like Peyton Manning or someone of that stature, I'm calling all the plays before they were coming. Yeah. And I'm getting in arguments with my linebackers like Sean Phillips. Why are you telling the plays? We all know it. Okay? And it's like, hey, man, got to let them know what's going on.
I thought I heard you yell out Omaha one time in a game.
Oh, yeah, we mock. We used to mock Peyton a lot. Mock Peyton a lot just to get him rattled a little bit. And we did fairly a good job during the 9 years we played against them.
You had a lot of picks, though, in college and
I had a good decent amount of picks, but at the same time, the year after I led the league as linebacker with picks, I dropped 7-8 picks.
Oh,
so I'm not going to sit up here and take all the glory for having a lot of picks. Wow. I dropped a lot too, but I had a strong mind and I bounced back the following year and tried to play at a high level.
Right, so you had like 7 that year? Or?
I had 7. Yes,
you could have had like 14 or 15.
No, the following year I should have 7 and 8 would have got me to the Pro Bowl, but things happen.
Jesus, man.
So when you finally, that you get signed as a free agent, man, you're hyped and pumped, right? And you want to prove yourself, okay? I mean, how does that feel? Like, explain to us regular people when you're in a stadium, your first game, and fans are screaming, hollering, you're at linebacker. I mean,
well, we'll start from the beginning. The draft day. Draft day, I thought I was going to get drafted second day. Whether it's the 4th round down to the 7th round, I was getting calls from Green Bay, Seattle, a lot of teams during the end of the draft, and the phone's ringing off the hook in the house because family's calling. You're like, man, I'm thinking it's an NFL team calling, but it's these people wanting to know what's going on. And just to have that feeling in your stomach of everybody wants to see their name go across the bottom line on TV. But when it didn't happen, I kind of felt down on myself because that was one of my biggest goals in my life is seeing my name and celebrating with my family. But after the draft was over, we had calls from all 32 teams. And the best situation for me with you guys being out here was when Junior Seau left. God rest his soul. Yeah. And Zeke Marino, Carlos Polk, good linebackers at that time, but it wasn't top tier linebacker.
Yeah.
So for myself, it was the best situation for me to come to California, especially coming from the University of Maine to enjoy the sunny weather. But to go to the question you asked, the feeling that first day, it was Kansas City at Arrowhead. So for me to go to Arrowhead my first game, I had goosebumps, chills.
Mm-hmm.
First kickoff, I look at Carlos Polk and I said, "What are we supposed to do?" I'm blank. He just said, "Just run down there and go tackle the guy with the ball." So I'm running downfield. I see the ball carrier. Next thing you know, the hardest hit of my life.
Wow.
Had a concussion the whole first half.
Wow.
I couldn't see out the left side of my face. It was just a white flash the whole first half, and I was seeing stars. But I tried to tough it out. I played the whole game, and it was one of the. I'll never, ever, ever forget that moment of my life, just because of that situation again hit the hardest I've been hit, and then just the feeling of hearing them Arrowhead fans say Chiefs at the end of the so it was a great moment in my life. I know every player, their first time on the field, whether you're a first round pick, a free agent, you're living your dream. You're living your dream. So it was a great opportunity and a great experience.
That's awesome, man. So what do you think was your best games you ever played?
My best games were by far playing against the Colts. Ooh. Just the chess match playing against Peyton Manning, understanding that he's really a classroom guy, and he's really about looking at the paperwork that you're getting from your coaches. And to play against them and to play at the high level that we played against them, whether it was the playoffs or the success that we had, a lot of it had to do with Wade Phillips implementing a certain defense that John Pagano, Minuski, and Ron Rivera implemented as well, learning from him. So that was definitely the team I loved playing against.
Okay. So now you played 9 years?
9 years.
9 years. I mean, that's a long time. And man, you're so physically fit right now. I mean, what is your regimen?
Well, I work out 4 to 5 days a week. Okay. Right now, I try to help out kids that want to do football workouts. I do individual workouts with them, but most of the Balboa kids, I get a couple kids from El Cajon and other areas that come in during the off season that do a lot of footwork drills, bag drills, all for free. I'm not really out there trying to charge anybody because I know how hard it is to pay for these kind of things. So I know where I came from, I couldn't pay for them. So with the time that I have on my hands to help these kids, I put in the time in. I just give them a time slot of when I'm going to be at the field, and if they're there, they're there. If not, they're not. We get a good showing. 20 kids per time we're out there, so it's cool.
Where do you usually work out?
It's either at Hollywood Park or somewhere in that area over there. Just because most of my kids, that's where we have our practices.
Okay, right, that's great. So your son he's 5 now, or
no? He's gonna be 8 in December. We get to play Tiny Mites another year because most of my kids are young. I'm losing 7 to 8 kids that are really great kids. I have Isaiah Jackson, Avery Logan, Khalid Beasley, Tristan McElroy, Damari Williams, Kenny Smith. I just want to mention them names.
Yeah,
those are kids that are leaving us, but kids that you're gonna hear a lot from in the future. I guarantee you that.
What position is your son playing?
My son plays all over the field. All my kids, we have 26 kids, and out of the 26 kids, 22 of my kids score touchdowns.
Wow!
Whenever we're up by 2 or 3 touchdowns, I make sure those big guys that are the ones that are giving my running backs the opportunity to score, they're not going to be running the ball when they're in high school. Yeah. So at the end of the day, when they're talking about scoring touchdowns, they're always going to remember Coach Cooper and our staff. Because I remember all the coaches that did the positives and the negatives. And I just try to take all the positives from all the coaches that I've learned from and try to leave out the negatives that I couldn't stand when I was growing up as a player. And I just try to implement it in my coaching style.
So when you guys play, you say you play guys from L.A., so you play teams from all over.
We play teams from all over, but the L.A. team just got into our county to play. I don't know what their future is within our organization, but we play most of the teams from here, Otay, El Cajon. The only teams pretty much far away are Marietta, Temecula, teams from up there.
Okay. They got some players up there.
Oh, they got players all over California. The best thing about California is the all year round weather. So you get to train all year round. Being on the East Coast with the snow and the rain, you don't get those things.
You hear about people just specializing in one sport once they get into high school and everything. What are your thoughts on that?
It all depends on their makeup, what they love to do. A lot of these kids are getting pushed in a direction of what their parents or uncles or moms, whoever it is, getting pushed in a direction to where they might not be comfortable. Yeah. What I try to do is, like my son, we do UFC, we do basketball. I'm going to do track this year. I'm going to try to pick up on baseball. But for me, being a dad, because I'm in control of everything, I'm not really a baseball guy.
Yeah.
But my son wants to play, so I got to put him in because that's what he wants to do.
Exactly.
So I can only be there to support him and help him along his way. But it's hard with the kids that want to do certain sports. Just make sure you're mentally into it.
Yeah.
You can be the biggest, strongest guy in the world. Doesn't mean you have to be a football player. You can go and play tennis.
I agree.
You know, so just do what you love to do and what your body enables you to do.
Yeah.
Right. So the key thing, like in college, like when you're at Maine, these kids, the problem they have is time management.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you handle that part of it? You can give me some advice for these kids.
Well, you really want to predicate your schedule to around practice, and your coaches help you a lot with that, and your counselors. But when you have to hit the weight room, if you have to get up early, get up early.
Mm-hmm.
College life was one of the best times of my life, right, when it came to fun. All of us like to go party and all that stuff at that age, chase girls around, whatever it is, but you have to balance that. I used to work out twice a day when I was in college. I always had time to go have fun and do my academics, but at the same time, if you want to be an athlete, you have to put in the time to be an athlete. And like they say, hard work pays off. It truly does. And that's in all entities of life. Whether you're a truck driver, whether you're a cleaning person, you're not going to get hired if you don't do a good job. So make sure you're putting your best foot forward.
Right. What did you major in?
I majored in mass communication.
Oh, okay.
What a way.
Oh, no, I used to do a radio show in college.
Okay.
We used to do a radio show in college. That was real fun.
Oh, cool.
Not a lot of things to do in Maine. Especially when it snows. It snows a lot.
So do you love seafood or you hate it?
I love seafood. I'm from Cape Cod. So
Okay.
I'm from Massachusetts. So yes, I am a Patriots fan.
You didn't bring your snowshoes out here, did you?
No, I didn't bring them. There's not enough snow.
Not
Patriots
enough snow.
fan.
Patriots, all right.
Gotta love them.
Yeah, man. I love Edelman.
All of them, they're blue collar, just like the city of Boston. Blue collar guys. Their captain is Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. They come to work every day. They listen to what Bill's trying to implement as a structure. And as long as you buy in as a whole, you shouldn't have a problem because all 11 guys are doing one thing. If one guy messes up, that ruins the whole scheme. Yeah. So if everybody's doing their job, it's like an assembly line. Right. You do your assembly line to get the best product out. Right. So do your job and you'll be fine. Right.
I mean, I think their scouting department is ridiculous because they get those guys, like you say, blue collar and like Edelman, the fullback.
Their scouting department is great, but what people have to understand, in order to get to the NFL, you have to have it mentally or physically. And these scouts around the league don't play around because we're playing with their livelihood. If they're not doing their job, they're going to lose their job. So I feel like every team in the NFL can be the Patriots, but all 53 men on that roster have to buy into what the coaches are doing. And those coaches have to make sure they're keeping an eye on all those players, whether it's on and off the field, and weeding out the players that really want to be football players, not dealing with a celebrity. A lot of people that get to the NFL, when you get the money, you get the glory, the girls, the cars, all that stuff, that sucks them up.
Trying to do too much. So if you're not in there watching film and paying attention to detail, it's gonna pass you by. That's why the 3 years of an NFL athlete? That's crazy.
That's the average, right?
You've been doing it. You've been doing it your whole life. So why is it that it's only 3 years? You should, if it hasn't nothing to do with injury, I can understand that injury wise. But if you're healthy and you can't keep your job, that's on you. Don't be mad at a coach. Don't be mad at a coach for taking away from you. You didn't do your job. He's your boss.
Right. And so, like I was saying, like scouting department, but they find guys, D2 and NAIA. So, like the kids always think, I have to go D1. I have to go D1. What's your thoughts on that?
D1, I went to D1 AA. Okay, I went to the University of Maine. No one's heard about that school other than the hockey program. Hockey's really big up there, and what it comes down to is just like high school. I'm from a small town in beginning of Cape Cod. If you have talent, they're gonna find you. They're gonna find you. It's like that movie Blue Chips when they're going around, they find your kid on there, and the kid from French Lick. These scouts, with what's going on now with social media, and kids can put that huddle thing on their phone. They're gonna find you. So going to a big school or following the trend of everybody's going to Oregon, everybody's going to USC. That's all fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, do what makes you happy. Do what you're supposed to do, not what everybody else is doing. Forget don't be a follower, be a leader. Be a leader no matter what. Yeah, because
I had a lot of guys that went D1 and they get there and there's 15 All-Americans in the same position because everybody at those schools are All-Americans.
You got to weigh your options. You have to weigh your options. I got a 17-year-old son in North Carolina,
and he's a senior this year. And I would never ever bring him to a school where the depth chart's 5 guys at linebacker where he has to compete.
Yeah.
I want him to compete, but the likelihood of him getting that starting job, all depending on who's there, is going to be minimal.
Yeah.
So you have to weigh your options and put yourself or your child in a great situation where they can flourish or at least battle for that position in order to show themselves.
Right. They have 5 years to play for, and then you're sitting there with all these All-Americans. You might have been the guy in high school, but all the guys that they have are the guy in high school.
100%, especially when you go to them top tier colleges. As long as you do your job and you work hard, you can look yourself in the mirror every day and say, I did what I was supposed to do. You should be happy with that. It's when you don't do that, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. You can't do that stuff in life. Not just sports, in life.
Like the Chargers, Danny Woodhead was D2, Chadron State, Tyrell Williams, Southern Oregon. I mean, like you said, they'll find you,
Those guys are football players. As you can see, Danny Woodhead, coming from New England, now here in San Diego, he plays the game the right way. When called upon, he knows how to pick up a blitz pickup. He doesn't fumble the ball. When he has the ball in his hands, he makes the right decisions. He's a guy that can play special teams on all four special teams. That's what a lot of these guys don't understand. I got caught up when I became a captain for 2-3 years of the Chargers, and I was a decent linebacker. No one wants to be on special teams anymore.
Yeah.
But what you have to do is understand it's for the team. Yeah. Bill Belichick has Edelman, Wood. He had all those guys. They were all on special teams. Look at Seattle. Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. I'm talking about guys that are making 40, 50 million. They can get hurt on special teams, but they're still doing it in order to help the betterment of the whole team.
It's a huge part of the team, or of the game.
It's big. It's 3 aspects. It's 3 aspects. If you don't win 2 out of the 3 aspects every Sunday, Saturday, Friday, whatever time you play, then you're going to have a problem.
Well, look at yesterday in the Stanford game. It came down to a field goal at the end of the game. Wide right. They lose the game. San Diego State, at the end of the half, they had to make a 46-yarder. Bam, put them up.
Yeah.
Makes a field goal. That's a big part of the game. Field position.
Everything. Turnovers, penalties, time of possession, establishing the run. All those things come into play in football.
Can you describe like a film session in the NFL? Like you're by positions, right?
Yes.
So you go with your linebacker meeting, and you're there with notes, right?
Yes.
Can you describe
Well, for a linebacker meeting that I was part of, we would have our position coach in there, if not the D coordinator at the same time. We would go through the game plan. We would watch our practice tape. But one of the most important things that I did that I learned from Marty Schottenheimer was writing things down. Because you can hear something, but like when you tell somebody a story, they always get switched up by a word or two. So if you write it down and you have to go look back at it 2-3 days later before your game, you see it already implemented on your paperwork. So by writing it down, I never had a problem with picking things up because I would always almost try to memorize it. So when I seen a team in, like I was talking about earlier, 30 second and long, draw screens coming because they want to get some of that garbage yardage back in order to either get a good punt or pin you back because of field position. So within those meetings, you get a bunch of paperwork on breakdown percentages. So 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end. 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. Plays are coming predicated out of that formation. So it's called formation recognition. And these are things that I'm trying to teach these 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds because a lot of coaches I've noticed in youth football, they want to do their thing. Even high school, college, they want to win games for their resume. Yes. But what are we doing for the kids? So when they grow up and they need to learn the terminology of what's a hitch route, what is 7 route. I got a 6, 7-year-old that run the whole route tree right now. And I promise you that I'm talking about working their hands, working their hips.
Yeah. These
things are going to help them be the best football player they can be. So with that being said, me being a football coach, that's my job. It ain't about, Stephen Cooper won this game. Because in San Diego, everybody talks about Coop's team. It's not my team. Yeah. These kids are going out to execute in the things that we do in practice. So it's their team because they're doing what we asked them to do. Yeah. So with all that stuff being said, coaches need a coach and not worry about them. We still got to go home to our families and all those things. But wouldn't it be great to see that kid on a Friday night dictating what's going on in the field at quarterback or linebacker or safety because of the things you taught them as an adolescent? That's what makes my life fun right now because I'm trying to help these kids as much as possible.
I mean, that is a good feeling as a coach when your player comes out the field and goes, Coach, just like you said, third down, they're going to run this. Third and long, they're running this. Third and short, they're running this.
Yes, sir.
Guy's got a hard hand. Hey, they run the ball.
Yes, sir.
So note taking.
Note taking is, I'm telling you right now, in school, in football, anything, that's definitely the number one thing, taking notes. Write it down just so you can go back to it and look at it. So if you do get into a little scuffle with your coach, you can go, Coach, this is what you said on this. This is what you said on this date in this meeting.
Don't listen to me.
Exactly. So, gotta write it down.
So there's a lot of stuff that you learn over in college and high school and NFL that you implement with your tiny minds.
Yes, sir.
And then that was key into the long winning streak.
1,000,000%. The kids pay attention to detail. Pay attention to detail and do what we ask. But the thing is repetition. These kids at the age I have, if you're not going repetition, they're looking up at the sky, playing on the grass, pinching each other. No, go. Keep you busy so you don't have no time to mess around. I only have 2 hours to an hour and a half with you 3 days a week. So as long as we're getting reps, every kid from the best kid to the worst kid, everybody's doing it because little Johnny, the 26th kid on your roster, is going to be put in the game. And you want to make sure he does his job so he doesn't get hurt, or the guys behind him that are running the ball or playing behind him doesn't get hurt. Everybody does their job.
You don't need the talent.
No, you don't need the talent. Just do your job. A play is what? 4 to 10 seconds?
Yes,
so
exactly.
if you can focus for them 4 to 10 seconds and do the technique that we taught you, we're not going to, as a coach, you're never supposed to put your player in a position to lose.
Yeah.
Put them in a position to win, and if they do exactly what you tell them to execute, it's not going to be a problem. But yes, people jump off sides. Yes, it's mental breakdowns because you're tired or you're getting beat up or you're hurt. Things happen. People make mistakes, and that we know that. We know that. We try to let these kids know that. But when you make the mistake, make sure you're doing it fast and you're going hard because you never know. Yeah. You might make up a play where it's a big play for us.
Now, I've been in a lot of, League League Pop Warner practices, and man, like you say, you use rapid fire repetition, right?
Yes, sir.
Because these guys, the attention span is nil, man.
Very, very.
I've been in practices where it is it's like watching paint dry.
100%.
So you're saying, get them going, repetition.
Get them going, repetition. But your best players that already have it, get those guys that are the backups to get in there and get those reps because that day's going to come when an injury happens. God forbid, an injury's going to happen. A kid might mess up in school. A parent might not bring them that day because they're messing around at home. So, okay, let's not hurt our team and make sure the guy that's right behind them, next up, we don't skip a beat. How many coaches that oh, Johnny didn't show up today. We got a problem. No, you can't. You have a backup that's ready to go all the time. I have 4 quarterbacks on my team. Wow. And they all play. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this kid's throwing for 300 yards or whatever a game. You still gotta have depth because you never know when that day's gonna come. If an injury, a sickness, a family has to go on vacation, you don't want to skip a beat. No excuses. No excuses.
Right. It will happen. What do you think about? I've seen a lot of games where a kid makes a mistake and then they rip him a new one and they pull him out of the game and put another guy in there and they don't put the guy back in. What's your thoughts on that? You can pull him out for one play and talk to him, but
that's part of my coaching style. If you make a mistake, you're out the game. Why? Because you're in there to do a job. So for me, and I use this word a lot with my kids, is accountability. We're counting on you to do something. So if you can't do it, just like in life with your jobs, if you don't do it, you might get reprimanded and get suspended from your job. Then after that, you're fired. So as you grow up under my coaching style, from now till they're 13, 14 years old before they go to high school, they're going to understand accountability is everything at home, in school, and on the field. Because if you're not doing your job, you're not being a great person. It's not hard to listen. It's not hard to listen because you want to do your own thing. You have time to do your own thing, and you have your leisure time. But when you're with us or in school or with your parents, respect those people because they're there to help you. They're there to help your growth. They're not there to string you along. Your parents are there. They want you to be the best. Your coaches want you to be the best, and your teachers want you to be your best.
Okay. So you pull the kid out, but you talk to him, and
we take them out. If you go off sides, all right, get to the sideline. Coaches talk to them on the sidelines. They come back in next series or so. Don't do it again. But they understand if I mess up, there's a consequence, and that's in life too. There's a consequence when you mess up. So that's my little teaching, coaching thing for these kids within the realm of football.
You do have a guy that comes in and knows what he's doing.
100%, because repetition, depth chart. It doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3. We have a monster defense, a monster offense, and those are the best 11 guys. Everybody's having an opportunity throughout the week to earn that spot. If you earn it and you show us you can do it, you'll be in that spot. Competition's everything all the time. You should compete with your friend that's sitting next to you on a math test. Guarantee you I'm getting you 100. You know, competition's everything.
Yeah. So when that kid makes a mistake, comes out, he knows also with your organization that there's another guy that knows what he's doing.
100%. They know there's a guy right on his heels ready to go. That's why we coach every kid up. It doesn't matter if there's one kid that isn't as big, as fast. Them kids, you have to get 6 mandatory plays.
Oh, okay.
You have to make sure that kid's ready to go. And when, God willing, we're winning by 30, 40, I want to put that kid in and let him go showcase his talent and do his job and have fun doing it. We want all our kids to have fun.
Just keep it
have
rolling.
fun, 100%.
Keep it rolling.
Don't skip a beat.
So all 26 guys after the game, they're all happy because they all played and they all contributed to a victory. A 3-year winning streak, right?
Yeah, they've been great. Our kids are great kids. They have fun. They're good friends amongst each other. So it's good. We have a great group of kids and a great group of coaches that I'm really happy I got to be a part of.
Right. So how much longer do you think you want to go to coach high school or anything
well,
else?
Right now I'm having so much fun with this, with coaching the kids, that I don't see myself stepping away unless a great opportunity comes about. But right now, I'm not really worried about coaching high school or college. I'm really focused on watching my son grow up and watch these other kids grow up to be young men, and try to implement my coaching style to help them when they do get to high school, college, to understand. Coach Cooper already taught us these things, so they're running circles around their coaches.
Right.
It'd be great if they came out with their little notepad from when they were with Coach Coop.
Yeah.
Say, hey, when I was 7 years old, Coach, this is how we taught to do it. So we got to do it this way.
What's your son's name?
Kai.
Okay. Kai Cooper. Gotta watch out for that kid.
Yeah, I'm telling you, all 26 kids from Isaiah Jackson, Avery, Logan, Elias Alvarado, Jonas Mays. I got 26 kids, man, that right now they might not be the best. But by the time they get to high school, they'll all be a problem.
What about some of your coaches?
What's that?
How about a little shout out for some of those coaches?
Oh, Coach Elias, Coach Richards, Coach John Mario, Coach Marr, Coach Tyrone, Team Mom, best team mom in all San Diego, Gigi Burns.
Oh, that's where they
yeah.
She does everything.
Oh, she does everything. See, if you know, you already know. For my presidents and Milton, Mr. Smith, appreciate the opportunity to come over to their coach. And, if you have a child that's 14 and under, bring them to Balboa. They're going to get coached up. They're going to play at a high level.
Oh, man.
That is great.
Well, Mr. Cooper, man, it's an honor to have you here. You're great. You're a great man. You did great stuff in your career. NFL, college, high school, player of the year twice in the Colonial. I mean,
Quarterback.
Yeah, quarterback, track, basketball. I'm so glad you came, and congratulations on your tiny mics, man.
Thank you. Appreciate having me, man. Thank you so much.
All right.
Great.
All right,
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll
Hope
be
you
right
come
back.
back.
Coach Roche on KBLKradio.com.